I've got a webcam now, not just my laptop.
What's going on? Okay, I think we're live.
Okay.
You have a webcam? Okay.
Yeah, blinking.
We are streaming live on Facebook. We did it again. And happy, what day is it? Happy Wednesday. Every day is a new day. And so, hi everybody, this is Michelle Oliver with Northern Colorado Small Business Prevail and Prosper private Facebook group. And here we are streaming live today. And I am with Curt Bear of LoCOThink Tank in Fort Collins. And Curt, I'm so excited to have you. And I want to thank you very much for being the epitome of spontaneity and just jumping on at the last minute, because for whatever reason, no one was here. And Curt just rose to the occasion, as he often does, because he's always ready, right?
Man of action, for sure. Grass doesn't grow underneath my feet.
Yeah, so I want to just introduce you as, let's see, you know what? I guess I want you to introduce yourself, because as I understand, you have a remarkable platform for a variety of types of businesses. And it's similar to having mastermind groups. And that's kind of my impression. So I know that there's a lot more to it than that. And you can share that. And then I'm very excited to hear the story of what your chalkboard says, which is you are broadcasting from the Orange Room.
Live from the Orange Room.
Yes.
Where we'll have a future podcast, even, I think, hosted out of. So, gosh.
Awesome.
I'll try to be brief, I guess, in terms of what LoCOThink Tank is and does. We build effectively structured, high-structured mastermind groups. We have trains here, by the way, if you trains in the background. That's why we have low rent at the LoCOThink Tank. One of the reasons why, but we have a great landlord. So anyway, we build, mastermind groups. Small business peer advisory groups is what the official industry term is. And so my job basically is to find smart, high achieving, growing small business owners that are also recognizing that they don't know everything about what it's going to take to get from here to there. And we lump those people into chapters of LoCOThink Tank. And each chapter has its own small business veteran, somebody that's had a successful business journey, maybe 2 or 3 successful business journeys, and they don't need a job anymore, but they do need some purpose. And so we give them a flexible 20-hour-a-month subcontractor role, managing a group of up to 12 business owners who meet monthly for a board meeting-like experience. So it's a lot like a board meeting for the small business owner that doesn't have the resources to have an actual board of directors, but their board members are awesome because they're non-competitive peers. Small business owners that don't have skin in the game of their business, so they can be objective, but they do eventually come to really care about each other and can speak truthfully and frankly because they don't compete either. So that's my job. I say I'm the mixologist at LoCOThink. And so I find, the right kind of people and get them to enter into these kind of voluntary, transparent, vulnerable groups where they process together the journey of crafting a successful business enterprise and all the questions that come with it. Can be a pretty lonely place. And so I say it's not a support group, it's an excellence manufacturing center. It's for small business owners to get better at running their business, be better at understanding their numbers if they're not a numbers guy, get better at marketing if they're not a marketing person, get better at building a culture and a team if that's not their instinct, and just really recognizing that there's a lot of different kinds of intelligence. And if we mix people that are smart at different things all into one group, we raise the bar for everybody, and better decisions come faster and new ideas come freely. So that's what we do.
Curt, this business model is so amazing for so many reasons, and all the right reasons. Gosh, there's just so much to say. So it depends. I mean, any business regardless of the size or where you are in your business. It really truly is the most humbling of experiences, right? Because we,
Please.
yeah, we
People
just,
depend on us for their paychecks, and our customers depend on us to keep getting better and provide better services for, not too much more money and all those things. So yeah, it can be, the challenge of knowing what to do next is throughout life it's hard, but for a business owner, it feels like an extra burden sometimes, I think.
absolutely. And you've got, like, no one would go into business if they knew how much they didn't know initially, which is great. I mean, and that's why it does take like the dream, right? The passion and the vision, because oftentimes if you're focused very solidly on that vision, you just know that you find a way, right? You learn
Right.
what you need to learn, you become who you need to be, you meet the people you need to meet, and you just keep taking one step at a time. So to have an environment that is supportive and kind of shines a light on the way to go, and then allows you access to, it sounds like, not only like a board as you're describing it, but even a mentorship, someone that's
Yeah,
been where you want to go. Is
that's
that?
right.
Yeah.
That's right. Our local facilitators have been there and had what our members consider to be a successful business journey. They built something, they operated it, built some wealth, they sold the business, those kind of things. And so that's where people want to get to someday, even if it's multiple journeys. And I should mention also that you said whatever size business you are, just last year we opened up 2 new chapter sizes. For years, we were pretty much serving that 5 to 25 employee business, a member,
Mm-hmm.
thinkers. And then last year we opened up several of our members have gotten too big to be really with their peers anymore. And so we started a next level chapter for the kind of 5 million in revenues, 30 plus employee kind of demographic. And then we also last year started 2 chapters of builders for the little guys that maybe the solopreneur or 1 or 2 employees, but they just were still more focused on building the business than creating the business in the right way or crafting it.
Yeah.
So now we have builders, thinkers, next level, and then maybe as soon as next month, but probably July, we'll launch the Catalyst chapter, which is a new product again for us. And that'll be the key leaders, the right-hand people of small businesses, to give them that safe place where they're not the final decider, but they've got a lot of responsibility, a lot of expectations, a lot of desire to understand the business holistically in a similar fashion to what the owner does, so that they can really be that right-hand person fully. Whether their job is the marketing officer or the CFO or the chief operations person, whatever their role is, it's important for them to really understand that whole business approach, like the owners do too. So that's coming out soon, and yeah, honestly, I feel blessed to be here doing this. I mean, the facilitators really love the role that they get to play. A lot of them, quit getting paychecks or earning significant income a while ago, and so it gives them a really purpose fulfilling role that they also make some income on. And that's not a lot because our membership is pretty low price, but they can take the grandkids to Disneyland or whatever, and just be valued for their time, if not at market price, at least keeping them in the game and adding all that depth of experience back into our community.
So you're creating value. I mean, what's really standing out to me here are a couple of things. Number one, the value that you're creating for everyone who's involved. It's largely about these relationships and being able to show up and provide value at the level that wherever you are. So you're meeting the need of people because we need to give back. That's a very legitimate thing, and you're not only providing a platform for people to do that, but also for everyone at every level to contribute their knowledge and then also learn. I love that. And then what else was I going to say about that? That you're really showing results. Like this is so exciting because this is what every business wants, right? You want to get to a point where you grow to this place where you have a new problem. And for you, it's really that your problem is that you proved yourself, right? You proved results for this group of people. And that means you have to move that, you have to kind of reorganize stuff and open up a different aspect to your model or what your offerings are.
Yeah, well, for me, you mean, yeah, every new thing that we've done is to solve a new problem. Mm-hmm. When I have a right-hand gal myself, Rory Shar is her name, and she came on last June, and she had a side business. She was half-time, and so one of the things I offered her by way of an employee benefit was you can be a member in one of these new builder chapters that we're doing for the small businesses, and really as she processed that, it helped her to both find a way to make her side business profitable, and also to process, I think I want to be more LoCOThink Tank. I don't think I really want to build RoryShar.com. And so she's full time with a day a week off where she can still take some clients because I can't pay her enough yet to be full time. But we both know that she wants to be the key person here at LoCOThink Tank. And as we launch that right-hand persons group, again, that's solving a new problem because she kind of put down her business. And so she really wasn't qualified to be a builder candidate or member anymore, although she's still in the chapter and until she transfers at least. But she didn't want to not have a chapter after experiencing it for 8 months or whatever. So for her, that was like, okay, I'm solving a new problem. She doesn't belong here, but she doesn't want to not have a chapter. And so let's build a chapter for right-handers because duh,
I love that. And we all know anybody who's ever had that person. See, Curt just has.
I'm not leaving you. I get emotional sometimes. It's the COVID.
Like, steps out.
Excuse me.
Anybody who's ever had that person that you're talking about, for you, it's Rory. Oh, Rory. I apologize. Rory, yeah. I'm so sorry. I'm so
like same name I'd give my lion if I had a pet one.
Oh. Adorable. So, but the point is that I used to have a person like that.
Yeah.
And so when anybody that's had someone like that knows that the value of that is you can't put a price on it. I mean, somebody that's invested in your dream and your vision, and it sounds like she's gone through this kind of process to solidify that, which is really powerful. And now she's even more solid for you. So that's going to enable you to grow exponentially, I imagine.
I hope so. That's that's what we plan on doing is taking this model. We're 8 chapters in Fort Collins right now, and so if we can.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, so we're trying to figure out how do we grow into other markets, and how do we find these facilitators in other markets. And I think we may have come across a new plan for that's been forced by this COVID circumstance, really, which is pretty interesting. I don't know if you're on my newsletter list. If you aren't, my blog that came out yesterday spoke to this topic actually. So it won't be new news to you, but I don't see that you've read it yet. So
no, I don't even know if I'm on your newsletter list.
Shame on me. I should be spamming you.
Put me on there.
It's just once a month. It's pretty good. I spent some time on my monthly essay. So
I'll definitely read it. I'd be very interested. And that actually was my next question to you: is how has all of this pandemic affected you, and what has been your response to that? Mm-hmm. How has it changed your business?
Sure. Yeah. Oh, wow. It's pouring outside right now.
Really?
Yeah. Just coming down cats and dogs, thunderstorm style.
Not here. Just loud construction.
I digress. So yeah, it's been pretty significant because, our core of our business model is we convene in-person meetings once a month to process what should I do. And the other part of it is we have squatters' rights, basically. So the Small Business Development Center has hosted chapters, the Economic Development Center, kudos to new partners out there. A couple of our members have hosted chapters. And so suddenly many of our chapters found themselves without being, well, initially willing and then not even able to meet in person. And so that's been interesting. What we did as an adaptation, we shifted our chapter meetings to Zoom, of course, or they were somewhat hybrid in March with some people in person and some Zooming. And then April was all Zoom. May was hybrid again. Some chapters mostly met in person in a larger space because they'd been evicted from their government type hosts kind of thing, and don't know when we'll be back. That's one reason that we're in the orange room now, but I'll come around to that a little bit. And so we were surprised. We had really good retention through that. We like I said, we shifted to 2-hour Zooms instead of 1 4-hour meeting. Our facilitators worked their butts off. We had to get a pretty deluxe Zoom account so we could facilitate having good access for everybody and stuff. So that's another new expense for us. But overall, we were really proud of the way our members responded, and we know that our members were able to access things like PPP and EIDL and understand their options. And if their bank wasn't offering it, they used their network to find a bank that was able to support them and things like that. And so it becomes really a fingers and toes and just a network of, if you got 10 years of experience or 15 in your business, but you got 10 more people in the room, well, you've got 100 plus years of experience, but you've also got 10 times as many contacts for resources and connections and power partnerships and whatever. So it becomes pretty powerful.
So let me see how much time we have left. I have so many questions. Are you good for a few more?
Yeah, I'm good. And I was going to say two more things about the COVID factor.
Yeah.
If I may. One, I'll give props to Rory again, actually. She desired to create a virtual business collaboration event, basically, where we would have speakers come in and talk about different topics that were critical, timely, important, safety for employees, getting to PPP, all that. And we did a weekly call that we just did probably what's our last one, because we only had like 9 people show out of 15 or 17 signups. And so the wind is kind of out of that sail, but we had as many as 55 different owners on those calls, usually between 25 and 40 every week. And just, we also created a virtual Facebook page, a business collaboration page there as well, where people were sharing links, resources, stories, asking questions. I think you've been on there, Michelle. And so that's been one thing where we really maybe increased the visibility of LoCOThink Tank through this time, but also recognize that we really helped a lot of people. Like, it made a difference.
Well, I love your response. It's very proactive and very healthy. And, it really shows, I think we all are aware of this, that when a crisis of any kind hits you, it just reveals to you where your weak points were.
Right.
So when you already have this solid network and people that have been through other stuff and people who are very proactive, that's the response. It's just like kind of your default response. That is
your sorry, Zoom. No. Your feet are, as long as your feet are still moving and you're asking the right questions about what do I do next, you can pivot and I like to say, slide into the crease if you're a running back. You just keep pushing and eventually you'll find an opening where you have some opportunity again.
Yeah, exactly true. So did you have something else about COVID that you wanted to say?
Yeah, there was one more quick story, and it was really that growth, trying to grow to new marketplaces we've been talking about, and we've been planning to try to do an event-driven thing where we'd have 40 or 60 people in an event and try to pick out the right people. Because here in Fort Collins, I know 3,000 people or something, but in Denver, I know 35, so it's just a whole different approach. But we weren't that confident, but we knew that what we have is something that people want. It's just a matter of how do we structure these groups and how do we launch these groups. So the innovation that's come out of it, and what I wrote in my blog is the new program we have, Loco Underground. And so when we've found a new facilitator that wants to start a chapter, we've got 2 in Denver, for example, and another one here in Fort Collins, we can now sign them up for a program to go through some of our business foundations conversations just with their facilitator for a very affordable rate. And then when that facilitator has had enough introductions from us, because we're a lead generating and connections generating machine now, then they can kind of curate their own chapter, put them in a knapsack, and then when the chapter has enough, then it kind of can emerge out from the underground and be a LoCOThink tank chapter. So,
oh, I love that. That is
yeah, we can outsource
great
that.
idea. Yeah.
We think we can, have them be our pickers instead of us being magical group puller togetherers.
Yeah. So can I just ask you a couple like practical questions?
Sure.
Like as a business owner, so if I were interested in getting involved at whatever my level would be.
Sure.
But I wanted to be involved in a Denver chapter, is that possible?
Are you a Denver-based business?
Well, I mean, I work all over the globe, actually.
Yeah, okay. If Denver would be convenient for you for in-person meetings, we will be building some virtual chapters perhaps, but our inclination is to continue to be an in-person convening organization first.
Mm-hmm. No, and I'm asking truly because before all this stuff hit, my interest is in, I have a lot of them, but one of them is to build more relationships in Denver Metro, Denver. And so I was looking at what's the best way to do that. And then you're kind of back at ground zero. How do, there's 10,000 up here, there's 1,000 meetups to choose from.
Right.
Down there's 10,000 and more BNIs and this and that and the other thing. But it's very crucial, from at least in my opinion, to be connected with like-minded people who are really focused and going to develop relationships because they're working together to better themselves, and everything you offer is really intriguing to me.
Yeah, well, you're definitely qualified. We don't have, you would be a builder, I think, based on, under 5 employees. Right? I don't know, maybe you have several. I don't have to talk about your business, but we don't have a builder facilitator down in Denver yet, for example.
Mm-hmm.
What I would be clear on, though, is that we're really not a networking organization. Although network is of use, we don't encourage or track referrals. In fact, we encourage our members not to do business with each other within the chapter unless they clear it by the chapter first.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason for that is we don't want anything that would block them from being transparent and would potentially damage a relationship. If you hire somebody to do a big project for you and then they don't do the project at the agreed price and the agreed timeline, it might fracture a relationship there.
That makes so much sense.
Yeah.
I totally get it. Yeah. Yeah. So it's a true mastermind.
Yeah, we really aren't about networking at all. We do, now that we have 8 chapters, we have monthly socials and things, and we're going to have a social on June 25th here at the local office to show off the orange room. It's going to be a parking lot. So look for that. You can go on the website and register to attend that if you want. It's open to the general business community as well as our members. Where was I going with that? But yeah, we just don't, I think we've been very thoughtful at how to avoid conflicts of interest throughout the organization and do the best we can. And if we see it, we name it. And even just the way we to build a chapter. Join a chapter in Fort Collins, let's say, Michelle. Actually, I've got a chapter that just lost a female member, leaving us with only 2. So I'd love to talk to you about that chapter. But the process would be, first you convince me that you're smart enough, have some specific special sauce and skills that chapter would benefit from, and that you're interested, very interested. And then I introduce you to the facilitator, because I'm going to make more money if you join my membership organization than if not. And so I don't want that to color my belief in how good you are. There's a safety check by that facilitator of that chapter, and they say, oh, I don't know, Michelle was okay, but she seemed like whatever, or vice versa. He would say, she's amazing. She would bring so much marketing skill and knowledge to the chapter. I think it would be awesome. And they invite to the chapter. And then once you visit a full chapter session and share a little more about who you are and how you think, then it's unanimous consent to join of the existing members. And so we don't force anybody down anybody's throat. We don't have any contracts. It's a 1-month cancellation policy, no application fees. Even my facilitators have a 30-day out on their contract. So if it just makes me treat them well. And if we treat our members well and our facilitators well, then they shouldn't leave.
Yeah, so I really appreciate that you shared that, and that makes so much sense. And there's really, I guess, yeah, there's two kinds of networking, right? There's networking to get more business, and then there's just getting to know people who, and I guess, I mean, I'm always looking for both, but I'm very interested in connecting with more like-minded business owners who are really motivated and focused and committed and all of that kind of stuff. So that sounds like it would definitely meet that need. So do your facilitators follow some type of, like, do they develop their own plan for each group, or do they follow something that you've agreed on, like with your overall organization? Or
Yeah, I'd love to address that. Two things. One, they're not the guide. They're a mentor, but everybody charts their own journey.
Mm-hmm.
My path might be different than your path. There's many paths to the top of the mountain, and so our process honors who you're trying to become and supports that, not tells you what you should do next to be successful. And that's kind of where we're different than like a coach. Oftentimes will focus on specific next things. Here you're bringing questions to the group. And so I like to describe a question. So our core service is what we call the LoCollaborative process. And, it's really a 4 steps process. And it's pretty brief. I can explain. One is we set the stage, give background to the question, perhaps even go through a whole presentation if you're that month's focus member. Here's my financials, my org chart, all that. But in the end, just set up the question well. In my world, in June of 2015, it was, should I get this other food trailer into business? Because I'm working this existing food trailer business as much as I can. I started LoCo to help me start a restaurant and ended up with a food trailer. And I was working it as hard as I could, and I got about 20,000 a month revenues. And so I said, well, maybe if I put this other trailer into business, then I could have 30,000 a month revenues in the summer at least. Cost me a few thousand to get it licensed and all that, but should I do this?
That's right.
And so then step 2, our members get 15, 20 minutes to do what we call a clarifying questions without suggestions. So clarify the details. So they're asking me questions now. And the questions for me were like, hey, Curt, how do you like always working when your friends have time off and always having time off when your friends are working? How do you like making the same kind of food over and over and over again? And ultimately, they were leading me to the truth from their perspective, which was, even if I had 5 food trucks or a food truck and a restaurant, I really didn't want the life I was going to be crafting. I was focused on not failing at my food business and the first suggestion. So then the suggestions go on the board in the next one. So after the clarifying questions are all out on the table and my answers to them, those questions inform the group what their suggestions should really be for me, they give those suggestions. And the first one was, Barry, you need to park that stupid food trailer in your backyard and go get a job before you're broke, and crazy, or both, and work on LoCoThink Tank. Get a job that's flexible enough that you can work on LoCoThink Tank, because it's way more scalable as a business. You're more passionate about it already. I had started a 2nd chapter by that time. A lot of the people that helped me build my food trailer business became members of it and things, and figure it out, and so that was and so then the 4th step is, okay, what are you going to do? You've gotten these 10 suggestions on the board about what you should do. And in my case, I hired a coach to help me kind of process, okay, can I just grow LoCoThink Tank rapidly. I worked full time on it instead of 10 hours a week or whatever. That didn't seem feasible. I made like $500 a chapter at that time. And so I ended up working in finance and investments for a couple of years, growing think tanks on the side. And then 2.5 years ago now, almost went full time on this job and have grown to 8. So anyway, that's our process. So that process is repeated 2 or 3 times in each meeting. And then programmatically, we have a acronym we call FLOATS, and it stands for Financial, Leadership, Opportunities and Obsolescence, Administrative and Process Development, Technology and Risk Mitigation, and then Sales and Marketing. And so we think if you can, get pretty strong in each of those areas, you got a business that can really floats, I guess. And so we have limited tools and workshops and resources come in with a focus on those topics. Excuse me. But we don't know the way. The way is ever changing. If this strategy or tactic works for now, well, 3 years later that just might not work and things. And so we have tools for clarification and self-awareness and things like that. But the facilitators really are allowed a lot of flexibility into what speakers they choose to bring into the group to drop knowledge bombs. They have their own structures as far as goal setting and check-ins. Each of them has it, but what they want to do for their group, we don't necessarily know if there's a best way to do check-ins.
Well, I love that. There's so much value here. I mean, gosh, I as you're speaking, I'm thinking back to a couple of other businesses that I've had in the past and how much I could have used you. So, because often I know this happens a lot because I talk to a lot of small business owners and people are all over the place. But if you're like a franchise owner, you might have a background in nursing, or you've been a college professor or something, you open a restaurant and all of a sudden you think, I'm going to turn that magic key and everything's golden. Right. And then you find out, oh, there's a missing piece here, but you don't know what it is because you're scrambling around trying to just get through the day and manage your staff and do, you had no idea what you needed to know. And corporate really isn't quite helping with all those areas. So, and I remember, and once I had the funding, I thought, okay, I'm good. I can handle everything else. Like, as long as the money is there, I can learn what I need to learn. I can hire the people who are good at things that I am not good at. I'm going to surround myself with all these amazing people. And there's a lot of truth in that. But you know what the missing piece was for me? And I'm thinking of one business in particular, was having a place I could go to, show up and have people care enough. I mean, you're talking about like a Socratic approach to problem solving, and to have people that care enough to ask the questions that help you arrive at your own conclusion. So you're not defensive, you're not fearful, you're just, to get out of that, like to get a business up and going, you have to be, at least this is just my opinion, for me, you have to be so focused on that vision. Like, we're just moving forward, we're barreling forward, and you have to defy all odds. You can't listen to the naysayers. You can't listen, you learn how to control your thinking and all this stuff. So to have a safe place where you can just let down in that vulnerability you're talking about, I see a tremendous amount of value in that. And like, where can you go? You can. I would work, oh my God, like 16 hours a day, and then I'd have a few hours on Sunday where I would just cry for 4 hours.
About what it's like to, or a metaphor, yes, about what it's like to build a business.
Yeah.
And I like to say it's like you're on a stationary bike, and it's one of those old flywheel ones, so it's got a pretty heavy flywheel.
Yeah.
And you got to pedal it to not just 100% of what you're capable of sustaining, but to something like 130% of what you're capable of sustaining. And then you jump off, and while the flywheel's still spinning and all this stuff is still happening, you build a second seat and another set of pedals, and you hire somebody to get on that second seat instead of pedals, and you get them pedaling before the whole thing stops or breaks or runs out of gas. And then the two of you pedal until you're going faster than you really can. And then the owner jumps off and builds that third seat while the second person's still pedaling. And then eventually you've got something that has an engine and has a team.
And you have to smile the entire time.
You have to smile the whole time.
I'm chill, right?
Yep.
Just no effort at all. Yes. Yeah.
So before we get too deep, I want to tell you about the Orange Room too, because that's why
tell me about the Orange Room.
So the Orange Room is
very orange. The Orange Room is orange.
Yep. So LoCOThink Tank's headquarters is right at the corner of Willow and College. So 400 North College is our office.
Yes.
And we're in the corner that faces the intersection, so you can always see our big orange stickers here. And just east of us, there has been an open space since earlier this spring, and we were gonna rent it and then not. And anyway, longer story short, we've got free rent till August, and we built it out, and my landlord is awesome. But this is a for rent private conference space, as well as a place where our chapters can meet if they want to meet while they're kept from their existing places. And it's also a ping pong room.
Oh.
Ping pong room. So our conference.
That's what every business owner is wondering. Like, I wonder where I could go play ping pong. And
it's true.
Yeah, I know. It's fun.
Right here.
I love it. I love your location. You guys have parking there.
We have great parking. We have, it's just a great room. It's a 12 by 22 space, and so it's perfect for.
Is that across the hall from where?
Yep, just directly across the hall from my office. I forgot you were here for our red carpet. Yeah. So anyway, that's the Orange Room, and so you can actually find that on our website. If not today, by the end of the week anyway. Rory's been finishing up that page, and we'll have soon a book it yourself kind of thing. And so like I said, it's not a big enterprise for us. We really just needed to have a place where our chapters could meet, but we think that people still want to meet. And yeah, so
terribly bad.
Right, maybe more than ever.
I know I had my first meeting, like this is the first day I put on normal clothes and I don't know how long. I mean, I've been getting a lot of workouts in because it's so easy to do that, but going out into the world was just like glancing over and seeing someone in the car next to me. I was just so happy. Like, it's so nice to see people. You forget how much you gain well, I do. Not everyone is like energetically from just in seeing people. I mean, we are social creatures. Like,
for sure.
I have some introvert friends that would argue, but so Curt, what is your ask for this group? How can we best support you? What would that look like?
We're always looking for awesome small business owners that want to be part of what we're building here. We have lost a few members because of the COVID and put some on deferral. So we do have some openings in some of our chapters. And it's really important that we keep them over about a 8-person membership, because 10 brains is more than twice as smart as 5 magically. And try to keep them really robust in membership. So always looking for your referrals in that regard, always looking for new local facilitators. So if some of your members in this page are in Denver, in Longmont, in Boulder, in Greeley, and they know of somebody that's had a successful business journey.
Oh, wow. I know somebody I need to.
Perfect.
Are you doing anything like south of Denver, like Centennial?
Oh yeah, wherever we want to be. Now that we've got the underground program, we feel like we could support multiple slow chapter launches at once. And as long as we find the right people, we're not gonna put LoCOThink Tank members with the wrong facilitator. And we're not gonna bring the wrong kind of people in as facilitators. But if they're the right people, we'll talk to anybody really around Colorado. We don't want to support more remote chapters than the Front Range right now.
Sure.
Because if I've got a chapter in Tennessee, and then that facilitator says, screw you, I don't want to work for you no more, then I got to fly to Tennessee or something like that. And that just doesn't pencil out very long. So right now, anywhere in Colorado, especially the Front Range, we're interested in meeting with facilitators, either in person or Zoom. And then bring us your ideas, bring us your community, join our VBC virtual business collaboration page and share your ideas there. Obviously do the like us on Facebook thing and follow us on LinkedIn or whatever, but mostly just 3 good deeds every day. That's what you guys can do. That's what your listeners can do. Not for us, not for me. We don't need your help, but for anybody in the world ever, if you can do 3 good things fill 3 needs, surprise 3 people, whatever it is, with something great, and if you can do that, then do it. That would be my ask, honestly. I'd way rather that than a bunch of referrals and a bunch of new facilitator introductions.
I really, really appreciate and love that you said that. That's amazing, Curt. And now I'm going to bring it back to our group and say, who doesn't need this? Like, I think everybody, and I don't know who is a good fit. And it sounds like a lot of thought goes into who the facilitator is and who your members are. And I value that so much. So obviously we're talking about like a high level of integrity and value. And I would just encourage everyone in the group to at least reach out and have a conversation with him, or go to his, what is the name of that page that I'm a part of that I can't remember the name?
The virtual business collaboration.
Yes, everyone.
Our website.
Anyone can go there, right?
Anyone can go be a part of that, but to really understand who our tribe is, who our people are, the website has got really good detail on that. It's just LoCOthinktank.com. And so we've got, and I'd invite you to do the same, Michelle. Go to the builder page under the business owners tab, and we've got a list of 10 characteristics. And if you hit 7 of those, then we think that you'd be a good candidate and you should consider it. Mm-hmm. We've got different characteristics for different levels, because running a 40-employee business is way different than running a 2-employee business. And
yes,
we're intentional to kind of keep those people with their peers. And so that's one way that people can kind of say, oh, who would be the right kind of person for LoCo? If your abundance mindset, if you ask of your needs, share of your abundance, if you're kind, have a good reputation, if you're willing to be transparent about how you're running your business in front of 10 other people, you probably are kind of people.
So everybody go, I'll post a link to his website in a post so it's easily accessible, but please do go to Curt's Facebook page and just like it, and maybe just comment, read some of his posts and comment on there so he gets a little love and a little action, because those things, they add up and they are meaningful. And then also, I keep losing my train of thought. I'm sorry. I'm starting to relax after my crazy day. So I can't remember what I was going to say.
Sign up for my newsletter. I write a pretty good little newsletter every month.
Do you post those like blogs or the newsletter on your Facebook page as well?
I'm supposed to.
That would be a really good idea. You know what? People actually read. It's remarkable how much people will actually read on Facebook. Like if the top bit is engaging enough, they'll open up. And I don't really spend that much time on Facebook except for business things. But if there's something that catches my eye, and it's easier than going to the website to see what the latest blog is. And oftentimes, like I think we all get so many emails that I just blow by them, and then I think I'll look at it later, and then I just am on to the next day. So it might increase your audience. I'm just saying, if you want me to read it, put it. No, I'm kidding.
I'll put it on there. I think I do. Usually I post it on Facebook because my mom doesn't really do email. So I always tag my mom and say, hey, Mom.
Oh, I love that. She's on Facebook?
Yes.
She doesn't do email, but she does Facebook.
Yeah, because she can do that on her phone.
And Curt is active on LinkedIn, so check out LinkedIn too, because that's you're posting that newsletter on LinkedIn too, I'm assuming.
Yes, we do.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, this has been awesome. I always appreciate, nobody likes anything better than the sound of their own voice, and I'm here by myself. So.
I like the sound of your voice. Everybody likes the sound of your voice, and I love what you're doing. I love the integrity. I love the inspiration, community. I mean, you've covered a lot of bases and you've done it so thoughtfully. And it seems to me that you've also really taken your own advice. Like you were willing to listen and then step back and do the hard thing. With the hardest thing, I think, for people who are just ready to start a business is to look at those things like, maybe I just need to keep working like a day job while I build this to a certain point. And you guys, that's a way to do it. That's a good way to do it. And there are other ways to do it too that are more painful that I'm happy to share with you.
You know, I when I was a banker, I used to say I was going to be a banker until I had a good idea and enough money saved up to start a business. And I didn't really have either of those. I decided to try to start a food business, and I, went into debt to do it. But thankfully, it's merged and morphed into something that I'm really proud that exists, and so are a lot of people.
Yeah.
A couple, as we went into the COVID season, I had a couple of my facilitators say, just to make sure LoCOThink exists, if you need to cut my facilitator comp to run these chapters, we'll work around that.
Oh, that's amazing. Okay, before we go, I did want to ask you one other question. I know what I was at.
Sure.
So it sounds to me like if I were to be a facilitator of a group like that, I would be so invested in those people. I mean, they become like your family or your children or something, right? So, but do you have a pretty low turnover rate with the facilitators? Do they leave?
Yeah.
Do they stick, or like, what's that like?
Well, my original facilitator is Andrea Grant, and she's co-founder of LoCo. She had been a Vistage chair, which is the big $1,500 a month club that I had formerly been a member of as well. And she's still here. She actually flies back. She winters in Florida now, so she flies back for her chapter meeting each month and spends about half of her facilitator check to do it. But you're right. It's some of her closest relationships in the world are in that room. And so we've only, over 6 years now, we've only said goodbye to 1, 2, recently 3, 4, I guess, facilitators. And so over time, I think the average tenure will be somewhere around 5 years.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
So
that's encouraging. I love that. And there's nothing, I mean, I think too, the biggest thing, again, when you're running a business, it can be so lonely because you have to be really careful about who you say what to. You have to be really, because your mindset, in my opinion, is everything. And that has to rise to the top. So you have to do whatever it takes to stay focused and clear-minded and on task, right? And you can't talk to people who are going to pull you off of that.
Yeah.
So being around people who have your back, but also grant you perspective and pull you up to be the best you that you can be, this is just amazing. You're providing just such an incredible gift. So
well, the positive peer pressure element is real.
Yeah.
There have been more than a few times where, the week before my chapter meeting, I was like, crap, I told the chapter I was going to get this thing done.
Oh.
And I haven't done it yet. And so if there wasn't somebody there to call me on it, I might have went months still longer and stuff. So it really
accountability.
Yeah.
To people that you respect.
Yeah.
Yes, I just love what you're doing. It's really, really remarkable. And I'm so happy that you're part of our group and that you can offer this to everybody in here. And I hope everyone watches this interview. So Curt, we're going to hopefully grow this group. That's my intention, to really make a difference. And I'm just really starting to put some time and attention into it. So that's the idea. And then we'll circle back around and give you another opportunity to share whenever you want. Like, you can
Awesome.
also go on the schedule anytime. And please share whatever's going on. If you want to share your newsletter in the group, you're welcome to do that. We are here to support you. This is a promote yourself group.
Hey.
So
I'm not as good at that as some of the other things I like to do, but that's why I hired Rory to promote us.
Well, and if you want Rory to come on one day, or one of your facilitators,
cool.
or one of your members, or whatever, like, this is about getting to know each other so that we feel more comfortable, forward and staying top of mind, because we all just promptly forget,
Yeah. Well, thanks for doing this. I love watching these stories, and that's probably one of the reasons I love what I do so much, is because I get to hear all these stories, and they're, even if you're in a tough spot today, there's still a lot of things to be proud of along that journey. If you've gotten a business off the ground and you're making a living, and other people are paying their mortgages and grocery bills because of the efforts that you've put into making that business prosper, it's a special thing. And I don't know, I'm excited for anybody that supports the small business community. My hat's off to you. And
well, and you guys, we need to just constantly keep that top of mind, because even though we're moving into like this new, whatever it is, this new normal, whatever the heck is happening, we don't know what's going to happen next. But I know for sure that small business needs, and I've said this on every interview, like as soon as I get that next package from Amazon, I'm not going to order from Amazon ever again. But like, it's hard because you want to support local, but then you go over there and you can't get in, or they're closed, or the stock is so low.
It is. That's my big dream, big dream, in addition to moving local wherever there's give back minded facilitators that would want to roll like this, is to develop a fund, an investment fund that our facilitators and even other people could invest in, knowing that it's LoCOThink tank members, combination debt equity to replace all the banks that are such lilies these days. They can't make any kind of a risk-based decision, and also pull money off of Wall Street and put it back on Main Street, because they pulled plenty of money off of Main Street and put it into Wall Street. And so, giving real Americans another real way to invest in local business, not just buying stuff from them, but helping them.
I love that. Yeah. And it all starts with, I don't care what anybody says, and I've been made fun of a million times for always saying it comes back to a relationship, but it truly does. It's relating to people. It's listening. It's paying attention. It's being aware when you, and that's the objective of this group, is if we can get to know each other, then we can think, oh, actually, I'm about to close this big deal. I need to give a present to my client or whatever. Who can I support? I wonder what their favorite food is. Maybe I can get them a gift card to their favorite restaurant, or, just really thinking about the impact of our actions. Like, I don't want to sound like the weird person, but every time you spend money, you're supporting somebody.
Totally.
So let's support each other, and
100%.
And it's what a great community where people are so receptive and friendly. It's so easy.
My cocktail was gin hibiscus gin from Copper Muse. That's my late afternoon.
Did you invite them?
Copper Muse?
That you? I was talking to Jason, right?
Yeah, I don't think I did. Or no, I did. Actually, I did. I clicked on the invite button.
I hope he comes on, because he could come to our happy hour. We could all go buy. Wasn't it you telling me about the Bloody Marys or something?
Yeah, he's got Bloody Mary kits and different things down there too. Yep.
I think Mark was telling me about that.
I wasn't telling you about that, no, because I just put Jason on the invite page when I was signed up for myself on your page there. So.
But the restaurant, we can have more than one restaurant in this group, you guys. So let's get some restaurant owners in here and throw some business their way. And
for sure.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
I'll share this on interview on some of my networks and stuff, and hopefully that gets you some more members trickling your way as well.
Okay, I'll send it over to you, and you can. Yeah, great. Thank you for your time. You are fabulous. I really enjoy our conversations, and I'm looking forward to more of them. And I will see you in the group very soon. Okay?
Yeah, that's great.
Curt, thank you so much. Have a great night. Bye.